Hi, Steve Huh, Stephen Academy, SAT1 Essay. That's what I teach. And to be honest, and let's be honest, the SAT1 essay is not easy. It's 50 minutes long. In 50 minutes, a native speaker of English can write marvelous essays. They will have plenty of time to use all of their facilities in their essay. And so you are competing against those students. You are competing against students that write very, very well and with plenty of time in the 50 minutes that they see. So the good news though is that the SAT1 essay, unlike the ACT essay, is very, very familiar to most all students. It is the essay that you write when you write for your school homework. So the body paragraphs are going to be very, very familiar to you. The introduction and conclusion will be a shortened version, but even that shortened version will be fairly familiar to you because it is one part of the full introduction and full conclusion that you usually write. The ACT essay is something quite different. You will never write, I have never written that kind of an essay in my schooling ever. So that I also teach, but the SAT1 essay is very, very natural. So the most difficult though thing that students have is the body paragraphs. So the body paragraph structure we'll focus on. It is something that we'll go over sentence by sentence. The evidence sentence is the most difficult too. So it is something that I teach with a methodology. It is something that I teach with a formula, and it is frankly a formula. But it's a formula in a way that if 50 of my students wrote this essay for me, not one of them will have written the same sentence. Not one of them will have written the same structure in the body paragraph or in the sentence. So the evidence sentence is the thing that gives your writing the academic credibility and the academic authority. So we'll work on the evidence sentence and the argument sentence word by word. So it is an algorithm, and good writers even go through an algorithm when they write their essays. So an algorithm is ultimately just a method, and like a computer program that uses an algorithm to write to execute its methodology, to execute its purpose, you will go through a step-by-step methodology to write your sentence too. So you'll be very, very systematic. But again, all writers use a systematic way of writing. And the essay has to be systematic because it is a pattern. Essay is a pattern, except maybe narrative writing. All essays are a pattern. So because it's a pattern, you can go through it step by step, and that's what I do. We'll also go over the most common argumentative tacks that are used. So the purpose of your SAT1 essay is to go over how the author makes the argument. How the author makes the argument. Not what is your opinion on the argument, but how does the author make the argument. So every essay in the SAT1 essay has the same purpose. So it asks you how the author makes the argument. So the only difference is the passage itself. And maybe the one sentence blurb that says something like, how does Steve Huh make the argument that you should take Stephen Academy, Stephen Huh, SAT1 essay class. So, and then in response, you will use some of the methodologies, some of the tacks that the author used in his or her own writing. So an appeal to emotion, maybe statistical numbers, maybe expert opinion. Those are the many, many common tacks in a very, very academically written essay. For speeches, for something that's a little bit more casual or maybe something that's very, very emotional, anecdotal, you'll have imagery, you'll have personal anecdotes as maybe body paragraph number 1 and 2. And even for research and expert opinion essays, which are paragraph number 1 and 2, body paragraph number 1 and 2, the third almost always is the tone diction, the pathos body paragraph, the emotional appeal, whether negative or positive or neutral. Even if it's neutral, you can always use a tone diction third body paragraph. So you'll write ultimately about 3 body paragraphs, 1 body paragraph about 3/4 of a page each, and ultimately you'll get to the 3rd page. So we'll also talk about the most common passage types. We'll also talk about their characteristics of the most common passage types. So again, I already talked about some of the speeches and how they are a lot more emotionally charged, either negative or positive. They are usually also less fact-filled. So the few pieces of evidence that they have, they will stress a lot so that the reader can feel it in their heart. But an academically written essay that you will look at in your SAT-1 essay argumentation analysis will have a lot more nuts and bolts information in it. So probably a lot more factual details, a lot more expert opinion, a lot more statistical research. So factual details. So those are the characteristics of the different types of passages. And so we'll go over all of that, and I have even more methodologies and teachings and tricks and tips and hints that I can share with you, that I do share with you in the class that you take with me. So I don't use any TA. I go over and correct every single grammatical mistake. I go over and correct it because the grammar is another aspect of the writing that's very, very important too. So the grammar is something that if your grammar is not good, or maybe not perfect at least, because I go over and correct every single grammatical mistake, your grammar, if you recopy it, and I'll require you to recopy it if your grammar is bad, if you recopy it, not to memorize, but to make yourself familiar with your own common mistakes in grammar repertoire. Like if you play the guitar, ding dong 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 ding dong, you commonly play maybe 2, maybe 3 songs at most. That's your repertoire. And you know how to sing those 2, 3 songs. Do you like my playing? You know how to sing those 2, 3 songs very, very well. So the expressions that you use in writing is very, very familiar and very, very commonly used by most all writers too. So if I correct that, your grammar, for many of my students who have somewhat not perfect grammar or sometimes even somewhat poor grammar, they improve dramatically because of my correcting every single one of your grammatical mistakes. Now, I can't do that for every single one of your essays because, frankly, I need to focus on the effect of the whole essay. So I go back and forth, but I correct many, many of your essays, the majority of your essays in this way, and that helps a lot too. So all these methodologies put together will help you to get that coveted 24 score. That's the perfect score, by the way. And if not 24, at least to be in the 20 land, the happy land, the land that will get you into the good university that you want to go to. So we'll try hard, and at worst, 18 or 19 is not such a difficult score. So you will have 2 graders giving you a score of 4 at most in 3 different sections. So 12 score for each 1 grader, 2 graders, so 24 is your perfect score. So being in the high teens is very, very doable. It's not very difficult. And you can do this. You can do this with me. And if you do the things that I tell you, in the way that I tell you, you can get into the happy 20 land. And that's what we'll do. So come to class, take classes with me, or take classes with some of our excellent teachers at Stephen Academy, and we'll get to that happy land. Okay? Take care. Bye.